The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
As a former New Hampshire state representative who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King in 1963, he currently serves on the New Hampshire Commission for Human Rights. He's a product of Birmingham, Alabama, where at one time he had to guess how many jelly beans were in a fruit jar just to be able to vote.
We've come a long way, but we're not there yet.
Together we will explore the visible laws, invisible laws, and the structures above and beneath our human surface that keep us reaching for the stars. It is his goal to work with you in putting Nashua back on top, to be voted the #1 city in the nation again.
We are in a crisis situation, and that's what we're going to talk about.
I'm Harvey Keye. Welcome to Nashua Strong. Good afternoon, Nashua. This is Harvey Keye with Nashua Strong once more. Thanking you for having us come into your living room, talk to you about a few things. And as usual, I have to tell you the story that how I got to be living in Nashua by navigating through a few other states. I have to tell you a story when I got out of the Army in 1956 or 57, I think. I went downtown Birmingham, Alabama to vote, and they said to me, if you want to vote, you have to count the number of bubbles in this soap bar. And at that time, I was strong as nails and thought I was Superman. And I went after the guy who was saying that, and he pulled out a gun bigger than I was. And I think I was smart enough to turn around and walk away. I tell you that story. I tell it every time, because voting is the heart of what we live by or with in America. It is one that is not cherished. It is not one that we talk about a lot. It's dull. It's not so pretty. It doesn't have appeal and attraction. We need to do a lot of persuading, a lot of education. We need people to vote. I'm here in Nashua, New Hampshire, and we talk about voting all of the time. 28% of the people who are eligible to vote in Nashua voted. That's ridiculous. We have to change that. We're going to have an election in 2018. I think we're a few months away from gearing up for that. I'm going to be on the stump through this station and other ways to help people understand that voting means money. Voting means position. Voting means recognition. Voting means your kids go to school. Voting means power. So please listen to my voice, if you will. Vote this time if you've never voted before. 28% of the women who live in this city called Nashua don't vote. And most of those women are single women with 3 kids and 3 jobs. And I understand that's tough. You can't. But I have to tell this story because I don't want you to forget it. And I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that to happen again, and I ask you this. I speak with the police chief here in the city of Nashua. We don't want another Ferguson here. Voting helps get rid of that kind of thing. So the community, the police department, the social services have to meet someplace in the middle. You can't sit back and wait until they come and get you. So this is Harvey telling you again, and I'll be talking to you 3 or 4 times a week. Let's do what we need to do. We are citizens. This is our America. Act like it. Get out and get involved in your community. Now, I am so pleased to have gone to the mayor's breakfast. Not breakfast. I guess maybe it is a breakfast. First Wednesday of every month. And, you know, I love this mayor. We've been together since 1980s. This city, 1980s, was the #1 city in the country where families could live and raise kids. Early in 1990s, this city again was #1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. That is the best place to raise kids and raise a family, or raise a family, or raise kids, or grow up a family. then just recently, last year, we were in the top 20 in the world where kids can grow up, be strong and healthy, and raise a family. Wow, would you think this is a great city? I think so. So I'm here. I pitch for the mayor all of the time. Sometimes I throw curveballs. That's okay. But I went to the meeting just Wednesday, and I had a chance I got there like late just to have coffee and a sandwich. And Jaja Bell said, Harvey, you want to sit up? Because I have a broken knee. Want to sit up front? I said, no, I want to sit back here. And then later on, I heard impossible so many times in this morning's meeting. And I recall Nelson Mandela made a statement after his many years in jail. He said, everything is impossible until you've finished the task. Now listen to the wisdom. If you finish the task, it's not impossible. Every task can be finished. So after all darkness, there's light. I said a little bit more than I usually say about that. We don't talk about sex, religion, and what else? Race. We have to include race every once in a while because it's not exactly what we call it. We won't talk about it, but we'll touch the edges of it because this country is saddled with the ugliness of race. So we're going to have to talk about it, whether you like it or not. But we won't get into it because all those other stations are unraveled in it. And it could be that race might unravel the democracy in this country. Who knows? But I heard this lady said she had something to do with kids, and she was feeding 200 kids, and she was telling the mayor, and the mayor says, Harvey, have you heard this? I said, no. He said, I haven't heard it. So I have this lady to my left. You see her. Her name is Melanie. I have the other yeoman who is carrying bags of groceries in your car or someplace, Grace, who is she was the charger at this last night meeting. And then we have the director, Michael. Michael is the new executive director of the Soup Kitchen. And all of the people who are out there listening and who are on the board of the Soup Kitchen, I sat where you're sitting right now, and I think we have a fantastic, dynamite young man. He's young. He's not old. With us, who's going to take us to the next level. But I have a few questions, and this may not be the last time because I think this is a huge program, huge possibility or an opportunity where our strength is in Nashua versus our weaknesses in Nashua and our opportunity and the threat to those opportunities. Right. And I think we can call that SWAT, right? You heard that before. So let me just start this way. Grace, thank you so much for pulling this together and directing people to this wonderful place we call Access Nashua. And I did say it right, didn't I, Dick? Yeah, he knows. So, Michael, I had a couple of questions. I don't know if you got those. You sent me a little note and said you'd like to talk about this collaboration. Mm-hmm. Would you do this for Nashua? Tell Nashua, what do you mean by collaboration?
So let me start from the beginning, which is back in January. Mayor Donches came to visit the Nashua Soup Kitchen and Shelter. And he came to say hi to me as the new director, and I think probably more importantly to say goodbye to Lisa Christie, who was the director before me for 27 years. While he was there, we were talking, and we talked about the fact that, the United States is the wealthiest country in the world. And New Hampshire and Nashua, we're not doing too badly. And yet we have children who are hungry in Nashua. 4,000 kids in Nashua Public Schools are getting free and reduced lunch. Grace, you work as the homeschool aide, homeschool coordinator for Dr. Crisp Elementary. And from what I've heard, and perhaps you can affirm, that teachers will talk about how kids will come into school not having anything to eat the night before.
One of the saddest things to see is a child that's coming to school hungry, maybe coming into the school building late and crying because they're hungry.
How do you know they're hungry?
Because they come and tell you they're hungry.
They haven't had any breakfast.
They haven't had a breakfast. It's not maybe because of parents' neglect. It's maybe because parents didn't have anything in the house that was a quick and easy breakfast, or even had groceries at all. And so, we have a wonderful food program at the school where they can get breakfast, and teachers try to have snacks in the classroom.
I mean, I have to ask you because I don't know. You have food program in the school?
Well,
you have food in the school that's not lunch or breakfast or dinner? You have special foods for the kids?
Well, we have a breakfast program that's done to the food program to the city. The school, the Nashua district has a food program with a cafe where the kids get a breakfast.
A free breakfast?
No, it's not a free breakfast. They can come in and get breakfast. Now, if they get free and reduced.
Let me ask you this. All of the kids in the Nashua schools get a free breakfast? Or not?
Nobody gets a free breakfast
but they could buy breakfast?
They can buy a breakfast.
Every kid can purchase breakfast?
Yes, they can purchase if they have the funds, yes.
If they have the funds?
Yes.
And some kids don't have the money?
Exactly. That's
so
why
what happens to those kids?
Well, I mean, for example, last year we were 81% of free and reduced lunch. We had the highest count for the 5 Title I schools in Nashua, which means we have the highest poverty at our school.
And Dr. Chris,
yes.
Is that the...
Yes.
How many elementary schools do we have?
We have 12 elementary schools, and 5 of them, in 5 of those elementary schools, 70% or more of the kids are getting free or reduced lunch.
70%?
70.
Of those 5 schools?
Yes.
And each school has about how many kids?
About 250 to 300
So you're
kids.
talking 1,500, 1,000 to 1,500 kids?
400, almost 400.
Almost 400, okay. So
It depends on demographics of the neighborhood. So maybe the lowest school has 280 maybe, and the highest may be having 500.
You're talking 1,500 kids?
Yes.
That can't afford breakfast?
Right.
It must be
just in
either...
the elementary schools, and then you have the middle schools and the high schools.
Yeah.
That's just elementary?
That's just elementary. So there's 4,000 kids in Nashua Public Schools that are getting free or reduced lunch. We know from the teachers and from homeschool coordinators like Grace that we have kids coming in who have not had breakfast, have not had dinner, or maybe have had a dinner of a bag of Doritos. Now that may be filling, but it's not nutritious, and it's not going to help you grow healthy and strong.
It's not going to help them be focused in the classroom.
Absolutely not. You're going to be anything but focused.
No, if you're hungry, how can you focus?
That's right.
Exactly.
Now let me.
So
I know we're not going to finish this today because you're going to have to come back. Because I want to know if we have that many kids in elementary school, there must be some in middle school and high school.
That's right.
The siblings. Mm-hmm.
What are our businesses in our community doing to help that? Do they know about this?
Well, so that conversation with the mayor became a larger conversation because the mayor said, I think we can do something about this. And so we pulled together a variety of different organizations. We pulled together the United Way, Southern New Hampshire Services, Corpus Christi, the Catholic Food Pantry, Salvation Army, and a program called Ending 68 Hours of Hunger. And as a coalition, we said, we think that we can do something about this problem. It's too big for any one of us to do something about, but together we think that we can make a difference. And we focused on...
Now you say we, who's we?
So we would be Southern New Hampshire Services, Corpus Christi, Ending 68 Hours of Hunger, Salvation Army, and the United Way. All of us came together, plus volunteers from the community.
So that's 5 organizations? Mm-hmm.
Okay. And also Nashua Paint and Wallpaper and other for-profit businesses have been supporting us. Would want to mention Kelly Creative, that's done a lot of work in terms of doing design and things like that for us. And so we came together and we said, each of us could play a role. Southern New Hampshire Services, they do a summer program that provides supplemental breakfast and lunch to kids when school is out. So Grace mentioned that schools will provide breakfast and lunch to kids, but when school's not open, during the summertime or during vacations, oftentimes those kids will go hungry.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
These kids have parents or a parent?
Parents, or sometimes they're being taken care of by a grandfather or grandmother or some other guardian.
Who else should know about this other than the 5 organizations you just mentioned?
Well, I personally believe that Nashua could be the place. No city in the United States has yet been able to say, we have ended childhood hunger in our community.
Can Nashua do that?
And I think that Nashua could do that. I think if we all come together, we can make Nashua the
Who
place.
else do you need other than who you have?
Well, we started with one elementary school. We said, okay, let's try a pilot.
Now this is Dr. Chris.
That's Dr.
That's where
Chris.
the trial. That's where the trial is right now.
Exactly.
And you just got started this year.
We just got started 2 months ago, and already in that one elementary school, we have provided over 6,000 meals to kids from that elementary school, and we've provided almost 1,000 bags of food for the weekend. So Southern New Hampshire Services provided the breakfast and lunches. The 3 organizations, Corpus Christi, Ending 68 Hours of Hunger, and Salvation Army, they provided bags of food for the weekend. And Nashua Soup Kitchen and Shelter, we made frozen dinners, and we're still making them today, that we distribute 3 meals per kid on Monday, and then another 3 meals per kid on Thursday. And that combined with the bags of food for the weekend would make sure that every child in that elementary school district has access to 3 meals a day, 7 days a week.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Now,
Let me ask you: are these meals nutritious?
They are not only nutritious, we make sure that they're not just food, but they're food that's actually good for you.
so on this table here, we have 2 demos of the bags of food that are given to the children. So this section right here is what you receive in the bag provided by End 68 Hours of Hunger. And their goal is to give you, like you see, the oatmeal and the crackers and the tuna fish and the soup, that it should be meals that the children can make themselves or for the weekend. And on the section that's closest to you is a bag that's provided by the Salvation Army, and they too have the plan of giving you enough sustenance for the weekends that will, easy meals for the children or the parents or the guardian that are taking care of the children. So obviously, we don't have a bag for display today from Corpus Christi because Salvation Army and Corpus Christi right now are switching weeks,
They're alternating
who provides the bags. So these agencies provide us with 60 bags of food, each agency on alternate weeks, so that we have a total of 120 bags of food that will go home on Thursdays, along with the meals that are
How
cooked.
do you distribute the food?
Well, we have 2 sites. Dr. Chris being the main site. The
That's
families,
inside of the school.
we do it outside in the driveway. We're hoping when the winter arrives that we'll be inside the building and not outside.
Well,
in
you
the
just
cold.
got started in June,
Yes.
End of June.
end of June, so it's been warm months.
Yeah.
So you can serve it outside. I mean, give it outside.
We've been doing it.
Are they in line? Does the parent come with them?
Some parents bring the children. One of the fun things is that Melanie here and her sister Wendy have made it very intriguing for the children. So they bring, a hot meal or something to eat at the time, like maybe mac and cheese or something that the kids will like. And they brought ice cream during the summer so that the children would have something cold. And they brought costumes and took pictures. So the kids have really gravitated to them. And so the children would come and look for the goodies that Melanie and Wendy have, and whatever volunteers are available, we give out what's there, and we just keep it going. The key is that Melanie and Wendy help at my school, but they also do 2 different entrances at Major Drive, and they take the food over there too. So that is
I'm sorry, which drive?
Major Drive, which is
I think it's Maynard Apartments.
yeah, it's rent subsidy. It's home. It's
But
Section
you're
8.
distributing food there.
Yeah, but most of those families, their children
is that
come to
during
my
school time?
No,
Or-
this is in the evening at 6:00 on Monday and Thursday nights.
And you are one of the volunteers?
Yeah, the second site that she's talking about on Major Drive,
Yeah.
we are there at 5 o'clock.
And about how many kids?
Oh,
I heard
gosh.
you say 200 the other day.
Right, the families that I deal with they actually walk there, and the children come with them. And when they're coming to pick up their food from us, the children are there. And
Do they
that's-
look undernourished?
I wouldn't say very undernourished, but I could say that you can tell that they're not getting enough.
Yeah. Do the parents seem to be ashamed to come with them?
You know,
Is there some
there's-
stigma attached,
No,
There's,
no.
They come gladly, happily to pick up
with
the...
some encouraging that it's okay to come. We're not asking them for a name or an ID. We're asking them that they have children that are in our school, enrolled in a school in Nashua, that they're part of our
soup
community.
kitchen. You don't get anyone that comes in there and want food.
The only question we ask is, are you hungry?
Yeah, are you hungry?
That's right.
And I think that's marvelous, and that should be the mantra of whatever we're given. You shouldn't be asking your name and address and what.
Well, so we don't. So one of the things that we do.
Let me before. Are these single women?
A lot of them are single. They newly immigrants, refugee families.
Immigrants and refugees.
Yeah, we have everything.
We don't get any federal funding.
We don't get any. The initial funding for this program came from a grant from the Healthy New Hampshire Foundation, or H&H Foundation. Gail Garceau is the executive director of that. And they provided the initial
That's
funding.
Healthy Kids, right?
I believe that's one of their programs, is Healthy Kids.
That's run by John Hunt.
Okay. Yeah.
John Hunt, who is the chairman of the Commerce Committee in Concord.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great.
Yeah.
So if this, I mean, you're showing a need, and you're filling that need, and kids, at the end of, well, you don't know yet. Are they studying better? Are they more focused in school because they're not worried about their stomach?
I mean, it's obvious when a child has had breakfast and they get in that classroom, they can sit down and focus and participate.
Well, it's too early now to ask for a report. I think you have to run it a little bit longer and see how happy the kids are and how we're making out so that maybe we can extend it to other schools. We don't want hungry kids in Nashua.
No, we do not.
And ladies and gentlemen out there, you hear me? If you can help, come over to Dr. Chris. What's the name?
Probably we send them to the Nashua Soup Kitchen or Shelter.
Yeah.
Or any of or the Salvation Army, Corpus Christi, Ending 68 Hours of Hunger. These are all the organizations that are currently making food, so people can help in a variety of ways.
Nashua, listen closely. If you want to help, and I know you do, because that's what you told me, you wanted to help.
Right. So,
where can they come and help?
So people can help by donating food to any of the three organizations. They can donate to, again, Corpus Christi, Ending 68 Hours of Hunger, or Salvation Army. They're the ones collecting the food and making the food bags. If you want to come help make food, you can come to the Nashua Soup Kitchen and you can make food, and then you can put it into these trays. We put some film over it and we freeze it, and then they can be warmed up either in the microwave or in the oven. It's not one of those where it melts in the oven or something like that.
If you can't remember those names, say them again, Michael.
Say them one more time. So it's Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi. Where is that located?
That's located on Franklin Street.
Okay.
Right by where they're doing the new renovation on the old cotton mill.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And Ending 68 Hours of Hunger, they're located Ending 68 Hours of Hunger is located over in the United Way office on Broad Street.
How long has that been in operation?
I believe a couple of years now.
Yeah, okay.
And then Salvation Army is located down just off of South Main Street.
One Montgomery Drive.
1 Montgomery Drive.
So if you feel guilty and don't want to show your face over there, come down to this station, Nashua, Access Nashua, see Dick Gagnon or Harvey, and tell us you want to volunteer. Now, this is not funded by the federal government, right?
We're not receiving any federal funding for this
at all. None.
Now that doesn't mean that we don't need funding. That means that
you get zero.
Yes, but we're being creative. We got an initial grant from, again, the Healthy New Hampshire Foundation. We've gotten support from Nashua Paint and Wallpaper. We've gotten support from private individuals who have given to the program. And to be honest, we could probably use a bit more support.
You want a lot more business support and citizen support?
That's absolutely
And who do you report your results to?
We've been reporting them to the mayor, to our boards, and to the general public.
And Kim, who is the mayor's?
That's right, Kim Kleiner. Yes.
Aha.
Yeah, we've been.
She's a statistician.
Yeah. Well, this summer we have provided over 6,000 meals to the kids from Dr. Crisp, and we've provided almost 1,000 bags of food.
Well, if you're reporting it to Kim, she is the lieutenant over there.
And I should probably mention one other partner, which is Riviera University.
Yeah. And
Karen Hefner, who is there. They're helping us with a program evaluation to look at did providing kids meals make a difference. We think that it will.
Yeah, and statistically, they're building a report that you can give to the mayor and to Kim, so we can then ask for money.
Correct.
And can the businesses?
We will probably ask for money even before that, but
well, please. I mean,
Yes.
you do have to ask for it early,
Right.
because a lot of people are after it.
And so people can go to NashuaMealsForKids.org.
Yeah.
And on that website they can sign up to volunteer.
Say Nashua
Meals
Meals.
for Kids.
Nashua Meals for Kids. It's almost like Meals on Wheels.
But it's Meals for Kids.
It's Meals for Kids. And that's marvelous. I'm so happy Michael and this group of people are here talking about this, because I am really ashamed that we have that number of people, number of kids in our city who don't have the proper food
That's exactly the way to put it.
that needs, all of us need, and we're the richest country in the world. And not only that, Michael, if we do it right, we could set the bar pretty high for the nation to help our kids. And they also become great citizens. They learn self-respect. They respect the police department, the school department, and mothers and dads and that kind of thing. So I'm so proud of you guys to be here. But I'm not going to let you go that easy. Are you meeting your objective?
So far, we are meeting it by leaps and bounds, but it's our hope that we started as a pilot with Dr. Crisp, and then we can expand to at least the other 4 elementary schools that have 70% of the kids getting free or reduced lunch.
Wow.
That would be our goal.
Nashua, do you hear this? Please do something about it. Reach in your pockets and talk to your friends and talk to your neighbors, talk to your businesses, and tell them that we don't want hungry kids in Nashua. And you report to the mayor.
We report to the mayor, and we're responsible to the public of Nashua. People will come in and say, tell us about what you do, and we provide the audited financial statements and the program reports and things like that.
That's fantastic. These 2 piles of food are separate. One is for lunch and one is for dinner? Or?
No, they're just provided by 2 different organizations. This is an example of what one.
And is this one as nutritious as that one?
They should be equally nutritious.
And this is served for. This is given on Monday.
No, given on Thursday.
Thursday.
So this is each provides at least enough food for 1 kid for the weekend.
Suppose I had 3 kids.
Then we might give you a larger bag, or we might give you 2 bags, or 3 bags.
Wow.
So if there's a smaller bag, we might give a small bag to 1 child, and if there's 2 or 3 kids, we might give them more.
You go right
For
ahead.
example, like this pile here that's from the N68 Hours program. They are in 4 of the schools in Nashua. We pick up the food on Wednesday nights and bring it back to the school for distribution on Thursdays. And the criteria is that the students that are getting the bags of food are students that are getting the free and reduced lunch, or a refugee family, perhaps. And this is given to them for the weekend. It's a little bit more regimented as how much we can give away. They have more regulation than perhaps the Salvation Army does with the bags that we get from them, or perhaps Corpus Christi. So the bags from N68 are given to the school during school time to be sent home with the children. That's the only difference from like Salvation Army and Corpus Christi, who are supplying bags that we give to the families on the evening program, which is this National Meals for Kids program. So even though we're working together, there's slightly...
Is that one of your logos?
That's one of our logos there.
Could we see it?
I think they're going to put it up.
Did you put it up
They're going to put it
already?
up, yeah.
Okay, I think that's necessary. And I'm so proud of this program, but I'm also disappointed that we have that many kids.
It's something that far too many of us
Is this widespread throughout the...
Unfortunately, hunger in America affects far too many children. It's estimated between 10 and 13% of our nation's children are food insecure. And what that means is that they may not have a meal during the course of the day. Most of us, if we go around the room today, if I were to peer into people's homes and ask you to raise your hand if you had 3 meals to eat today, most of us are going to raise our hand. Unfortunately, again, between 10 to 15% of kids in the United States can't raise
Well,
their
that's
hand.
like bullying. That's like identifying me. I didn't eat today. I'm not. If you ask me,
Right.
if I didn't eat, I may not raise my hand because I'm ashamed to admit that I don't have food.
That's right.
How does that work out?
I think one thing, too, that we need to look at is demographics of Nashua. What neighborhood are you living in will indicate how many more hungry children there are. I mean, if you're living in an affluent neighborhood of Nashua, those children are not skipping a meal or losing a meal because the income is there, and so they have more to give their
So
families.
it has to do with income.
That has to do with
Low
incomes,
income.
low income,
Low-paying jobs.
Yes,
But that goes back to education, doesn't it?
It does, but if you're an immigrant and you don't know the language well, or you don't have job experience or education, like you stated, then you're not getting those good-paying jobs. You know, I have parents that work from 7 to 7 at school, and they're doing everything they can to provide. But if you have one parent and they're making $8 or $7 an hour, after you finish paying your rent or your utilities, there's no money for food or clothes or school supplies or, you know, after-school activities or sports.
You see a lot of this.
I see a lot of it. I see it every day.
What would you wish could happen to those parents?
I mean, I think one of the projections we talked about at having this Nashua Community Center that's not open yet was to provide a site where parents could come in and learn how to use a computer. You know, we take for granted that everybody knows how to surf the internet or write a resume or, you know, do a job application. But for some people, that's foreign.
That's for a large number of people, not a few.
Yes.
Most people.
You know, I mean, if we provide them the tools to better themselves and give them the opportunity to achieve those goals, I think that we'll be empowering them to be independent. I mean, we're not trying to create people that are dependent. No, we want to take care of them and help them and let them be successful so that they can, you know, make the future a better place for all of us. But we have to start someplace, and where we're starting right now is feeding them. And we have a Katie's Closet at our school, which is a wonderful agency that provides Katie's Closet.
Yeah.
And what they do is they make sure that children have clothing, so you don't notice which child is homeless or which child doesn't have clothing.
So they're not standouts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have the pleasure and the benefit of having an agency that provides clothing and agencies that are giving us food to help these children. And there's also some local churches that also at the holidays help us, or when there's an emergency and somebody
Who's
needs
a contact person? Are you the only contact person that's doing all of this?
I'm doing that at my school, but
At your school?
District-wide, well, the 5 Title I schools, which is Amherst Street, Ledge Street, Mount Pleasant, and Fairgrounds, and across my home school, Dr. Chris. We all have a homeschool coordinator that works with the school and community and the agencies to make sure that our families have what they need, or that we assist them as best as we can. And so, you know, these are the pilot schools that have the homeschool coordinators. I mean, I know that, you know, if we could have one at every school to help, we would, but, you know, financing a budget's another issue. But it's a starting point. It's a point that we work so close with the families that they have the confidence in us, they trust us. We know what their needs are. We know to go to the soup kitchen or Salvation Army or Corpus Christi if they need help with shelter or food, or, you know, things that, or maybe some finances because their lights are getting shut off, and, you know, maybe they're getting paid on Friday, but the cutoff notice is Monday. You know, all those people in Nashua that care, that help keep everybody surviving. But, you know, it's a battlegrounds for us. We're out there every day. This is not just...
You do this out of love?
It's my passion.
Your passion?
Yes.
Your mission?
It's my mission.
Could be your genius.
Yeah, it could be my blessing.
Wow. Do you hear this, lady? Nashua, listen to this, please, and get up and do something about it.
I mean, what's important and what I believe is that if we treat each other the way we want to be treated, if we lend a hand when we can, you know, it's a seed for the future. You know, we're worrying about the children, and then we still have to worry about our seniors, because our seniors are kind of in the same boat as our children. And, you know, our children will one day be making the decisions on our care. So if we show them love and compassion and show them to have dignity and self-respect and empower them to be successful, they'll take good care of us. But if we continue to be non-caring and complacent, they're going to be the ones making decisions that we're not going to like in the future.
What
So-
special efforts in your community, in our community? I say Nashua because that's my community. I love this place.
Yeah, I love Nashua
And
too.
Mayor Donches, I know you're listening. I know you're watching. So we'll be talking later about this. What is it that we can do to help you? Because you work at the Dr. Chris
Yes.
School, and you do all of this stuff.
I mean, I think, like the agencies that are already there that are so committed, and they're like the foundation and the cement of what we're trying to do. But when you have companies like BAE or Fidelity or Teradyne that are big corporations in Nashua, I mean, just getting more people together.
Have you approached these corporations?
We have approached them, and we're finding new ways for people to help and support. So, for example, people can, like Melanie, bring food to kids that are hungry. We can have people who.
But wait a minute, Michael. Where do you get the food to bring it? You get it.
She's getting it from these organizations.
I pick up the food bags.
See, I heard you speak the other day about 200 kids,
Right.
and I said, "How can you do this?"
The soup kitchen itself provides between 360 to 400 meals on Mondays and Thursdays. That's about what our number is at.
And how do you distribute it?
We pick it up in
You
our
pick it
own
up
personal
and
vehicle.
Yeah.
And
You don't get any gasoline money from Michael?
No, personal time,
Just
personal
checking.
money. And we pick it up. We pick up the meals and we pick up the bags.
Yeah.
Before this past couple of weeks, they used to be at the soup kitchen, but now we have to go. We go to the Salvation Army, or we'll go to Corpus Christi,
Yeah.
and we will pick them up. And then we
And
take.
this is voluntary on your part?
Yes.
How,
it's on my
let
time.
me ask you, Melanie, how did you get involved in giving your soul and time, no money, to helping these kids? Where do you find that inside
From
of you?
working with my son as he went through school himself. Not that he went to schools that had the same type of problem that they do at Dr. Chris.
Okay.
And thank God, praise God, that
Yeah.
Ashley did not have that problem. But there was a lot of need in that. I volunteered for the schools there, volunteered for the sports programs that were there, and did that for years until he got out of school.
Do you find yourself stronger when you give?
Yes.
To give more?
Yes.
Nashua,
Yes.
you got to give to be strong, right?
Yes. I put
You
many
can't-
hours.
Great. Now, and you've been doing this for how long?
Well, with this program, just until he started it in June. At the end of June, when the school let out, I think it was a week that week, next week that once they got let out, that the program started that week.
Now, do you have parents who want to help? Because I know we spoke briefly about what would you want your organization to be doing the next week.
If you allow me, I just want to elaborate that Melanie and Wendy independently have helped the school with.
Now, Wendy is someone.
Her sister that's
your
not up here
sister.
with us.
Okay.
So they helped with Thanksgiving last year. They've helped with school supplies. I mean, they have been a thriving entity to help me in my endeavors, and they've been very supportive, and I wanted to mention that. We have parents that will come in and, help package school supplies, help with gardening, whatever. If it's humanly possible, the ones that aren't at work will do the best that they can to help. And
Are meals included?
yeah,
I mean, not excluded, but
no, the gentleman that was just here with us, Mark. Mark is he's a grandparent that has 4 of his grandchildren, and he comes in the whole school year every Thursday at 6:45 in the morning to make popcorn for the school
Wow.
kids. He pops at least 200
Wow.
bags of popcorn.
Here's a grandparent, your grandparents,
Yeah, so he
helping
comes-
make popcorn for the kids from.
Exactly. So he comes
for-
in and there's another gentleman named George, and then we have alternate moms that'll come in later on as they're dropping off the children to help with distribution. And, Mark will come another day and take the popcorn machine apart and scrub it and make it look as new. I mean, there's no exclusion. And the volunteers, really it's when parents are unemployed or have time off or, it varies. And
So
every
it's
year,
a big family.
yeah, that's exactly it. We're the parents, the students, the teachers in our community. We're all one big family, and we work together.
We're the family of Nashua. I mean, that's all of us
Yes,
coming together.
And I think what's important to say is that you ask what we need. We need volunteers to go pack the food
Okay,
at Salvation.
folks, volunteers.
We need volunteers at Salvation Army and Corpus Christi to help bag the foods. The bags of
And
food that you
and
see here, and 68
Yeah.
hours, yes.
Where do you
okay?
get the bags from?
So, for example, like on a Wednesday night, if you're free, you can go to United Way and help make these bags here at N68 Hour Stand Hunger Program. Every Wednesday night at the United Way on Broad Street, they need volunteers. Anytime between 9 and 11 and 1 to 4 at Salvation Army, you can go and volunteer to make up the bags that they need. I'm not sure the hours at Corpus Christi, but they could always use volunteers. Our schools could always use volunteers, whatever programs, when we do our summer cleanups and things like that. And let's not forget the soup kitchen also needs many volunteers to come and put the prepared meals in our trays.
That's right.
And put the plastic on them and get them in the freezer so that when Melanie and Wendy go to pick it up and put them in the coolers, we have those 400 meals we need on Monday and Thursday nights.
And we could even have a restaurant make the meals and then take, a restaurant could bring in a really big tray of lasagna. And then we could put that lasagna into individual trays, freeze it, and then we would give out those individual meals to kids that Thursday or the following
That's
Monday.
hugely important. My next question is this. If you got a business, this is a business,
Right.
nonprofit,
Right.
and you don't advertise, nobody knows about it.
It's true.
How do you advertise?
We've been working with Shoshana Kelly and Kelly Creative to do a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
We've had some businesses put up little brochures, flyers on their counter to let people know. We've had a couple of articles in the local newspaper. But to be honest, there's more we could do to let people know that A, there are hungry children in Nashua, and B, there's something we can do about
And
it.
how about businesses? Who's your contact person for BAE? And who do you contact in BAE that says, we got $1 trillion and we want to give it away, but we don't know where to give it?
And Wendy had this great slogan. I think it's a great idea that, for example, a company as big as BAE, if every person gave $1, wow, we'd be doing really good
That
with
would be
finances
nice.
because they're such a big, enterprise, so organization there.
We're actually asking people to sponsor a kid, and if you were to sponsor a kid, it costs us about $1.50 to make one of those meals. So if you do the math real quick, for about $30 a month, you can make sure a child has evening dinners every night of the week.
$3 a month.
$30 a month.
Oh.
30.
Well,
they'd
wait a
be
minute,
eating
Michael.
peanuts
You went
maybe
up on
for
me.
$3.
You
He said
now
$1.50 per meal, but
you're
times
talking
at
about
30
like,
days.
on some of these programs on TV, they're asking for, well, send me $1,500 for a family to do this, or $700 to do this. And they're not bashful, and you're only asking for $30 a month.
That's correct.
That's $360 a year.
Right.
Can they pay a weekly, monthly?
Yeah, any
can
way
they pay
you
any
want.
way
We
you-
We don't
you'd like.
discriminate. Just
That's right.
however we can.
You
get
don't
it, it's
discriminate?
good. No.
That's good too. I just want to emphasize this to Nashua, that we need the businesses to pitch in. But you're not going to pitch in because you're not going to volunteer to pitch in. Or what I'm going to do, since I love Nashua and this is Nashua Strong, I'm going to volunteer for this organization to knock on your business doors and ask you to make a contribution. So look for me and look for the mayor to be with me, to be asking you for your participation. Would you accept that?
I would love that.
You got my word.
We would
Now,
be grateful.
What do I get from this?
You would get to know that kids are getting food.
Here's what I get.
Yes.
I become stronger to give more. I cannot receive without giving. So I'm going to give you, this organization, my 50 years of working for major corporations, Fortune 500 companies, my background and expertise. But you're going to have to give me something like, point me the way, a list of, I don't need to know the names of the people. I'll find that.
Right.
I just need the name of the companies. And I don't want less than 10 or 15.
Okay.
You got it?
We'll make it happen.
So we made a pact here, folks. We're going to make Nashua stronger than ever, stronger than maple syrup. Oh, you know about that, huh? Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard you talk a lot. Last night you were gone.
You haven't even asked me any questions.
Oh, my God. I should ask her a question then. Is this the only place where kids need it in Nashua?
No.
No.
No, it's not. There are other schools that do need help as well.
What is it that, as a volunteer, you do that you would like to see some other people do? Or what is it, special need, that you would like to see to help this organization in this pilot stage?
We piloted for the summer, and in all honesty, they really didn't think that there was a need in Nashua. Nobody really thought that the program was going to do as well as it did. Everybody said, blind eye. There was a blind eye to it, type of thing. It doesn't exist. As long as it doesn't exist, that you think it does, it just doesn't exist until it's brought to the front, and then people know about it. And that's what happened with the program. Is it opened a lot of people's eyes, saying, apparently there is a problem, and apparently there.
When she was speaking with the mayor Wednesday morning, he was amazed that this was existing in the numbers. And he said to me later after, he said, Harvey, get him on the show. Let's talk to Nashua about this. And thank you so much, Mayor, for doing this. We need to come back, and I think the immigrants are, where are they from?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They're immigrants.
Yeah. I mean, we have families that come from, South America. You have islanders. You may have, we have refugees. We have people that'll come from, Spain.
Well, see, we don't really care where they come from. We want to know that the kids are nourished, they're focused, they're learning, and can become productive citizens in our society.
When you have families coming to our country, everything here is new to them. New England, our climate is harsh. We have a hard winter. Sometimes these families come and they've never seen snow. They have no idea how cold it gets. So they'll come to school in a pair of flip-flops and shorts in the middle of winter. That's just, they don't have the information or the right clothing. So we'll provide that clothing. So, same thing with food or with education levels. We take for granted in America that we go to school, send our children to school, it's free.
Well, this is a project I could get my arms around.
Yes, but when you're coming from Santo Domingo or Cuba or Haiti or, even Panama or Honduras, in Mexico, if they're poor there, they're not getting educated. The education's limited. So they flock to the United States because everything that we take for granted, they want. They want to embrace it and appreciate it. So, they're bringing their children here to a place where they feel they'll be safe and get a good education and eat well. So I think that when we're looking at these families, we want to help them, and we want to make sure that children are eating, because we don't care where the children come from. If they're hungry, we're feeding them. And a hungry child is not going to learn and is not going to be able to be productive or successful. So all we want to do is make sure that we are securing our future, and that these children have a chance.
And we're not concerned about whether they're married or not. We don't care. We do care, but we can't get into that.
No, I mean, that's a whole nother arena.
We don't want to even begin there. We say, if you're hungry, you come over here. If the parent is around, we want to ask the parent to volunteer too. Right?
The parents at the location that I go to over at the community center off of Major Drive, it took a while, but they do trust us now, and those families want to be involved in the program, and they want to help. And
what do you do to celebrate their involvement?
They're just happy that we're there and we're committed, and it doesn't matter if it's rain, if it's a holiday, we're going to be there. Yeah. We're going to be there for them.
So you're talking 200 people on Mondays and 200 on Thursdays?
One thing Melanie's not mentioning, that when she goes to the Major Drive site, you have parents that are bilingual that'll come out and knock on the doors and invite the other parents out to bring the children over. So they're helping her with translation.
Again? Say that, what'd you say? That's huge.
Yeah. So
a parent who is bilingual will knock on the door of another parent whose kid is receiving a bag of food.
Yes.
To help them?
And to help them, invite them, encourage them to come over.
See, yes. I think, when you celebrate those and give them a little recognition, we could find a way to do that. To say thank you.
Yes.
You'll get more of them coming on, and we may be ready to go national. Right, Michael?
Or at least let's go to the rest of New Hampshire.
That's right. We do have another part of New Hampshire other than Nashua, right?
That's right.
I'm not sure about that. And Michael, how did you get involved?
I got involved because I had the opportunity to take the place of Lisa Christie when she retired after 27 years.
And where did you do this kind of work before?
Most recently, I was in Durham, North Carolina, but I actually grew up about 30 miles south of Keene, just across the border in Massachusetts. I used to run to the border of New Hampshire and back to get ready for cross-country season.
Okay. Yeah. And where did you go to school?
Well, I went to high school in again, about
Swansea, in that area.
That area there, yeah. And then I went to college in Middletown, Connecticut, a place called Wesleyan University.
Yeah, know about that. Yeah. And the rest of your growing up happened to be in the Southland. I noticed a little southern twang. You know? I know you're trying to hide it and say I come from the north.
I actually went to Union Theological Seminary in New York City, so it's right across from Columbia.
Theologian?
A little bit.
You got enough involved to know that faith was one of your drives.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think that faith is a driver for all of us.
Or your belief rather than faith.
That's right.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Back home.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, that's great. And we talked about the mayor's help and that kind of thing. Well, we're not going to...
You know, we also want to mention that if it wasn't for the mayor...
I'm sorry?
We want to mention, too, that if it wasn't for our mayor and them caring about what's happening at our local schools, my school wouldn't have their playground equipment.
Well, you have the best mayor in the country.
Yes, we do.
And you have the best lieutenant to the mayor, Kim, in the country.
I couldn't agree more.
So we have the best group right here, except Wendy is not here. And the grandparent and we were going to get them on.
Yes.
One of these days. We're going to bring some of the kids on and let them
awesome.
chat about it.
We talked about that. I talked to them last night about that. And
would that be one of your likes?
They absolutely said yes. They want to.
How old are these kids?
They're between the ages,
we have preschool, so they can be anywhere from 3 years old or 4 years old in the preschool program till being 11 years old in the 5th grade.
Yeah?
Yes.
Wow. I'm so pleased. Now, we're going to shut this down, folks. We're about to close it. We have enough cannon fodder right now to make Nashua #1 again for feeding kids. We don't have any hunger. We don't have any discrimination.
Yes.
We have a lot of love in Nashua. So thank you so much, folks. Thank you, Melanie, Michael, and Grace, and Wendy, who's not here, but she's looking on. And Mayor Donches, thank you so much. Kim, I'll be in touch with you. And we've made a pact. Yes. I'm your guy. I'm your, what do you want to call me? What do you want to call me? My go-getter?
You could be a go-getter.
I'm a go-getter.
Yes.
I'm a go-getter.
You could be called a knight in shining
business.
armor.
What am I good?
You could be called a knight in shining armor.
Wow. I've been looking for that title. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nashua. Talk to you next week. Have a nice day. And remember, I am the public relations manager for the new organization and the knight in shining armor. Thank you so much. See you next time.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.